to let you guys know, I am in drama, just had a fight scene, got whacked in the face, so my nose is bleeding a little bit, so if I touch my nose with a tissue, don't be alarmed. Alright. Everybody is still? This one is my favorite. That dog, his name is Ben. He lives on a little inlet on the western side of Ireland. Each day when he wakes up, he'll run down the hill and to the local pier. He'll then bolt across the pier and jump into the water to swim with his best friend, Dougie the dolphin. Dougie is a bottlenose dolphin and by instinct should be a migratory animal that lives in a pod with other dolphins. But something about her is different. She never leaves. She stays each and every day for one purpose, and that purpose is to swim with Ben. They've been recorded swimming for hours and from miles away from shore. In fact, when Ben gets tired, Dougie will actually swim up underneath of Ben to support his weight, much like other bottlenose dolphins do to their tired young. Now, this relationship is truly unique, right? It incorporates a terrestrial mammal and an aquatic mammal, two animals that should never meet, let alone form an inseparable bond. But all those relationships I just showed you are no different. And trust me, there are a lot more than the ones I just showed you. In fact, there are countless examples all across the globe in which animals treasure, appreciate, and love one another. In California, there's a gorilla. Her name is Coco. She has many pet kittens, and each and every one of them she protects and cherishes. In the UK, there's a fox and a badger that spend every waking moment of their time together playing and protecting one another. And in Canada, there's a crow that on numerous occasions has been recorded feeding and loving stray kittens. Yet, even despite all of these examples, people still seem to shrug them off as special cases. They're cute. They're just special. I'm here to tell you that these relationships are not exceptions. In fact, they are the norm. Because, quite frankly, there's no difference between the animals that you see on the screen and the animals that are outside. No difference. Coco is like any other gorilla, and that crow is like any other crow. It's true. All animals are sentient. This means that they have the capacity to think, feel, and understand the world around them. But I do understand if these relationships are not enough proof. So allow me to prove it to you in another way. If you're not familiar with the brain, it really has three main areas. Lots of parts, very complex, but three main areas. There's a part that regulates the voluntary and involuntary stuff that we all need to survive, like heartbeat, breathing, movement. The second part is the neocortex. This regulates concepts like imagination, complex learning, and abstract thoughts. Not all animals have a neocortex, mainly the higher order thinking organisms, such as orcas, chimpanzees, and yes, humans. Now, the third part though, the green part, to me is the most fascinating. This part is called the limbic system. And the limbic system is responsible for sensing pain as well as emotion. This being said, all animals with a limbic system should be able to feel emotions. That would explain why Coco loves her kittens and why Dougie sticks around even though she could do so much better. But what animals have a limbic system? Originally, it was thought that this system was unique to mammals. But recently, that's been proven wrong. In 2011, there was a study in Ireland at Queen's University. They were able to pinpoint and identify a limbic system equivalent in fish. Fish, if you did not know, are the most primitive vertebrates on the planet. Chances are, if they had something in their brain, every vertebrate that evolved from then on should have it as well. The scientists continued their study and prodded many species of fish with needles, and then measured where the neuron signals traveled to. If you see here, they traveled to this part of the brain, much like they would travel to the limbic system in the human brain. But they didn't stop there. They then measured this part of the brain during different stimuli. They were able to identify brainwave activity nearly identical to happiness, fear, and anger. This proves that even fish can feel emotions, despite their lack of a true limbic system. And if fish can feel emotions, every other vertebrate should be able to feel them as well. Now, as far as I know, that's scientific proof that animals are sentient. And if you couple that with the relationships that I showed you before, the evidence becomes undeniable. Now, to tell you the truth, I'm not actually here to make you guys feel all fuzzy inside because these animals love each other. In fact, my purpose is much different. I want to ask, why? Why, despite the overwhelming proof that these animals can feel and love, do we continue to do stuff like this? This is known as the Draize test. This procedure involves applying roughly 0.5 milliliters of a test substance to the eye or skin of a conscious, restrained animal, and then leaving it for a set amount of time. The most likely subjects of experimentation are rabbits. Unfortunately, this rabbit was one of the unlucky ones. After the results are observed and recorded, it will then be killed. These sort of tests are very popular amongst companies that sell cosmetics, shampoo, and cleaning aids. This particular picture is a picture from one of the most popular companies on the market today. This company is Procter & Gamble. Maybe you've heard of them. But I'll come back to them in a second. Next, this is a smoking chamber, used at R.J. Reynolds. There's a similar one located at Philip Morris International. Both of these are tobacco companies. These photos were released sometime in the past decade by the International Agency of Research on Cancer. These chambers test the effects of smoking on living organisms. They pump cigarette smoke and other harmful substances into the chambers and then watch as the animal's eyes ooze, their hair falls out, and their skin actually peels off their bones. I don't know about you, but I sure wouldn't want that to happen to me. Now, this is where controversy usually arises when it comes to the topic of animal testing. If you go out searching for companies that go against the cruelty-free policy, you probably won't find anything. After doing some thorough research, though, I was able to find some quotes from the most infamous companies that claim they no longer test on animals. Mary Kay: "We do not conduct animal testing on our products or ingredients, nor ask others to do so on our behalf, except when absolutely required by law." Then we have Unilever, Longclaw as well. Estee Lauder, very similar. We do not test our products or ingredients on animals or ask others to test on our behalf, except where required by law. And P&G. At P&G, we believe that eliminating animal testing is the right thing to do. We do not test our products or ingredients on animals anywhere in the world unless required by law. We are working hard to make it obsolete. Now, none of these quotes are mine. They're telling the truth. But there's something that most people don't catch when they read it. And that is the except required by law. To each and every one of us, that seems fine. There's no laws in the United States that require animal testing. But every one of these companies exports globally. And more specifically, they export to China, where there are strict laws requiring animal testing of certain subjects, and certain chemicals, and certain products. So yes, these companies are eliminating animal testing. But as long as they do business with the Chinese market, they will never truly be cruelty-free. Now, I recognize that a total boycott of these companies would be extremely effective. But quite honestly, that's not realistic. So I'm not asking you to boycott. But I am asking that you open your eyes to the atrocities that happen all over the globe. Animals are hurting, suffering, and dying for our own personal gain. There are millions of mice, dogs, cats, rats, and monkeys that are being tested on right now, that are feeling the pain of a chemical being injected into their body, that are inhaling or ingesting chemicals that we put into our own products. Like I said, it's impossible to boycott every global company, but we as the consumer still have an influence. So next time you're at the store picking up your items from your grocery list, I seriously recommend that you do your research. Because the product that you are purchasing could be the product that caused the death of hundreds, maybe even thousands, of poor, helpless creatures. Now, before you leave, I want to ask one last thing of you. If you felt touched at all during my talk, I urge you to donate to either one of these organizations. The Humane Society, PETA, and the BUAV have made great strides to help the cause of animal testing, and any donations, no matter how small, will help them in that fight. Thank you so much. You all have been a fantastic audience.